Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be talking about food and why it is so important, more now than ever, to be aware of what we are eating. Well, it's always been important to be aware of what we are eating, but given the fact that there are many regulations that are being passed that are concerning regarding the lack of support for healthy options and choices in both the United States and in Canada. It's coming in here up in Canada. So I'm not sure about other areas in the world, but I do feel that there is quite a lot of strain on the agriculture industry and a lot of the local growers. So wherever you are in the world, I'm going to speak mostly, of course, to North America because that's also where I reside. And I know that there are a lot of issues with the quality of food that is starting to, I feel, progress more than improve, which is quite concerning. You would almost imagine that over time and over the evidence that has been shown with health issues and the lack of quality that has been sold to the public, there would be a crackdown or there would be more rules or regulations implemented to support people's health and to support people's well-being. So I won't go into all the details, but I'm sure you are aware of what is happening and why these regulations and rules have not improved, and the need or the support, I should say, to better people's health and well-being hasn't actually improved over the last several years or many years or however long, but I feel that in some regards it's actually getting worse. So more than ever now, we have to be mindful. We have to be mindful about what we are eating, what we are putting into our bodies. So I'm going to go over some of the changes that I've made. I know that there are concerns regarding budget. I know there are concerns around availability to local growers and to local farms, which I'll get to in a moment. And I also know that there is concern over weather and geography, meaning in the summer, it's easier to eat less because it gets a bit hotter. And also the availability is a bit better during the summer. During the winter, it's a bit different, which I'll also get to in a moment as well. So everything that we have around us. Now, I want also to preface that I feel due to modern society, modern culture, which I feel is in a way squeezing the ability for us to return to owning our food has become, I feel, squeezed out of society, meaning that it's easier to buy easy food, it's easier to buy cheaper food, it's easier to buy pre-made food, it's easier to buy junk food because it's cheaper, it's efficient, it's readily available, and it tastes good. And when we end up becoming used to eating foods with a lot of additives, a lot of chemicals, a lot of artificial flavors and sweeteners, etc., our taste buds basically become used to those flavors, the intensity of those flavors, the chemicals, the additives, etc. So it's very difficult to return to natural foods and eating clean coming from when our taste buds become so almost desensitized from natural foods, opting for what tastes great, the flavor, the hit of sugar, the hit of this really strong artificial flavor. So our culture naturally has become very familiar with eating foods that taste really great, the extreme flavors, for example, or sweeteners, and quick food, quick and cheap, right? But there is going to be, and there already is, a repercussion from that way of eating and from that lifestyle altogether. So we are what we eat. We are what we fuel our body with. And this can become very detailed in how we are, where our mindset is at with what we are eating, what we are consuming. It is very, very important to be aware of what you are eating, where your food is coming from, and what is in your food. And I want to urge everyone out there, everyone watching this video, to be very mindful about what you are consuming and become picky, become very aware and very mindful about where the food is coming from, what additives are in there, if any, and be careful, be very cautious about what you are putting in your body. Now, why? Why do we need to be cautious? Well, if we are eating excess foods that are not necessarily supporting our growth, our well-being, nutrients and sustenance for our body, over time, our body will break down in many areas. Now, we have our belief system, which I talk about a lot, which does affect our body. Of course, our emotions affect our body, our thoughts affect our body. And if we are also eating foods that have additives, that have chemicals that are not good for us, we are going to put even more strain on our body. And over time, our body just won't be able to keep up. We will eventually exacerbate some of the maybe pre-existing conditions that we have within ourselves, or underlying stressors that we have within our body or within our mind. And eventually our body will break down. It will run down. It will become exhausted because it can't keep up over time with what we are feeding it, the impacts of these harmful additives that are in our foods. And as I mentioned, the laws that are becoming passed within the United States and Canada are becoming very concerning and almost I feel harming us even more. The laws are not being implemented to support us and to take care of us and to support a well-balanced and healthy lifestyle. So it's up for us to take our health into our own hands. It's up for us to be mindful about what we are eating. It's up for us to even grow our own food. So I know that, and I understand in certain climates it's a bit more difficult, but also, again, as I mentioned, I'll address that in a little bit. But I do feel more than ever, it is really, really important to be mindful about what we are eating, but also to start growing our own food. And if you live in a city where you can't grow your own food, you can grow your food in your apartment, in your condo. I would suggest to start learning how. Because we also never know what can happen. If maybe, for instance, we don't have supplies or the shipping avenues for importing produce and foods into our local area for some reason gets disrupted, then we have to find a way to survive, right? And I'm not saying this out of fear. I do feel it is good just to be mindful of it, just in case something happens. Because if anything happens, then we are left stranded and we're left almost struggling at the last minute to try to find a fix for something that could have been implemented a long time ago, meaning in the present moment. So regardless, it is very wise to have food growing of any kind in your home. And it's easy to do. It's easy to do. So you can grow some of your own produce, you can grow some of your own fruits, and also be very mindful about maybe stocking up on some food. Again, I'm not mentioning this to instill fear, but I do feel it's very smart, very wise to have some things on hand just in case. But more than ever, I feel that we have an amazing opportunity to take health into our own hands and to take our food into our own hands. And so some of the solutions to take your health into your own hands, I talk about the belief system often, so I'm going to leave that aside. This one's all about our diet and food. Some of the things that I changed in my diet, I had completely cut out meat. Now, this was more of an energetic and kind of a personal decision, I would say. About 4 years, really got deep into my spiritual practice, and I decided not to eat meat anymore. I didn't like the idea of ingesting a product that was from an animal source where they had to suffer in order to feed a person. Now, I have no judgment or shame to people who eat meat. If you eat meat, that's totally fine. Just know where you are getting your meat from. Know that you are buying it from a reputable, local, yes, organic or free range or whatever it is, farmers, so that you're eating happy meat rather than from the mass-produced slaughterhouses, which are disgusting. And I've seen footage. I've known people who have worked in these industries, and it is appalling what's happening in these industrial facilities. So it's very important to know where you're getting your meat from if you eat meat, that it is high quality, that it is local. And when you find a very good local farmer, butcher, or a market, the prices aren't that extraordinary. I find they're still very comparable, and it's worth it. It's an investment into your health, and you're also supporting local growers that need the support. Also, what else I have done is I eat more fruits and vegetables, and especially in the summer, it's very hot. I'm actually extremely hot right now. I'm sitting in probably about 30 degrees, so I'm going to go inside right after this. But I tend to eat, especially during the summer, strictly fruits and vegetables, and that's pretty much it. Some grains. It's very, very light. So my food, of course, my diet, I should say, changes drastically during the summer, but that is also how our body changes and adjusts to the seasons. So if you are in a hot climate right now, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, then you might relate to your diet automatically wanting to change. Your body will naturally adjust to the seasons because your body is in alignment with the seasons. We move in tandem with the seasons that we're in. So naturally, you probably are going to lean to eating less during the summer. And naturally, if you're tuned with your body, you'll be craving more vegetables and fruits and lighter foods. Now, fruits and vegetables naturally have higher energy. So when we are eating straight from source, when we are eating fresh, raw fruits and vegetables, you are gaining your highest amount of nutrients and your highest amount of energetic source right to your system. So it is the healthiest way, especially if you are working on meditative, energetic work. If you are looking to align more with your body and your higher self, for example, that is going to be the cleanest and most effective way to get there. If you are eating meat, that's fine. Again, I feel that eating meat may lower your energy because it takes a lot more to digest. Again, it does come from an animal that has been killed. So again, use your discretion. There's no judgment here. You can eat what you want, but this is just from my experience and what I've gone through and what has changed. Have I noticed lower energy because of my diet? Not at all. If anything, it's been cleaner and I feel really good with what I eat. I'm not a purist. Sometimes I eat snacks. Sometimes I'll have some chocolate, whatever. It just is fine. Listen to your body, but know where your food is coming from. That is the most important, and try to eat as clean as possible. Like I said, it's very difficult to change our diet. It's very difficult to incorporate new foods. It's very difficult to adjust certain habits. And yes, there are concerns around price point. There are concerns around availability. Now, everywhere I've been, big cities, out in the middle of nowhere, there has always been availability to farmers markets, to local growers and local farms. So they do exist. I suggest to find them. If you don't have access to it, eat as best as you can organically from your local supermarket. Try to eat whole foods as much as possible. So what does that mean? Fruits and vegetables, number one. Listen to your body. We're all different. So some of us have more sensitivities to other fruits and vegetables than other people. I can't eat certain vegetables because my body just doesn't respond to it as well as others. So I do have a very, I guess, strict, but I follow what my body tells me, essentially. So listen to your body. If you feel lethargic after you're eating something, if you have stomach issues after you're eating something, if you have brain fog after you're eating something, that is a huge indicator that you may want to look at your diet. You may want to look at what you're eating. And also too, I need to mention, we don't need to eat that much. We have become very gluttonous in our way of eating, and we do not need that much food to function. I'm telling you this from my personal experience that I have cut back so much, and I had been in a place where maybe I ate too much, but I also had a lot of fear that I would run out of food, or maybe there wasn't enough, or maybe I needed more to sustain my energy or to see results if I was working out or going to the gym or having certain fitness goals or diet goals. But I know now that we really don't need that much food. And what I'm seeing out there on the internet with some of these mukbangs, for example, is a little bit disgusting, truthfully. What we are doing to our bodies and what we are consuming is really unnecessary. We don't need that much. When we tune in and listen to our bodies, we are going to be more effective in our functioning and in our cognitive performance and in our life performance and in our way of being. So if we stress our body out with food, we are not going to be able to enjoy life to its fullest. We are not going to be clear and aware. We are going to harm our body even more. We're going to stress our body out. Now, there are some theories that it is good to stress our body out now and then to build immune, to kind of shake things up, to make it maybe stronger. use your discernment. Honestly, I'm only speaking from my experience. So you can experiment. There's nothing wrong with experimenting. There's nothing wrong with trying things out. Just listen to your body. That's all you need to do. Listen to your body, know what you're putting into your body, and be very cautious and aware. How much you're eating, what you are eating, where it's from. And yes, the ingredients are very important. Knowing where the food came from, knowing what is in the food is very, very crucial now more than ever. And if you want to grow your own food, that's an even greater bonus because you are eating straight from source. And that is the best way to eat. Now, price point is a concern. Yes, the price of food has gone up in many areas in the world, especially in Canada, I'm sure in the United States as well. I have found that the cost of my produce, the cost of my food in general, really hasn't significantly skyrocketed because I eat very clean. I don't buy a lot of added. I don't buy cheese. I don't buy meat. I have a very, very basic diet pretty much, but it's really good and I really love it and I enjoy it. And I can even be very creative with what I'm making. And like I said, I'm not a purist. Sometimes I will eat other foods. That's totally fine. But my food bill has really not skyrocketed that much. Now, the other one is going to be seasonal eating, right? So when we are in our winter months, we don't have access to as much local food. We do have access depending on where you are, most likely you'll have farm food that are consisting of root vegetables, more hardier vegetables. And also if you are a gardener and if you grow your own food, your own produce, then you can also store your own food. You can also store your potatoes, you can store your beets, you can store your carrots. You can also can and make food that lasts the winter, right? So there are all these different ways to work around it. I'm actually not a professional at any of these, but I would like to learn because I do feel it's really important. And I do feel that when we connect more with our food source and when we connect more with food, we can sustain ourselves very, very well. We've just become used to and accustomed to quick decisions, quick fixes, and availability with quick solutions, pre-made foods, snacks on the go, that sort of thing, right? And once in a while, it's completely fine. But just as long as you are being mindful with what you are putting in your body, again, where it came from, and for seasonal eating, eat with the seasons. Your body just naturally is going to gravitate to more heartier foods. And so be prepared. Be prepared for what you need for the winter to get you through the winter. And also, as I mentioned, have a little bit of a backup source of food on standby at all times. I feel that we never know, and it's not to be fearful, but it's just to be prepared, so that we're not being sucked into the chaos if anything ever happens and our food sources become limited in any kind of way. So as a recap with this is a video to inspire owning your own health, taking health into your own hands, being very mindful about what you are putting into your body. Now, this is not about being paranoid. It's not about being in fear. This is just about being cautious and aware and tuning in with your body. The more tuned in with your body, the less I feel we will need to eat and the less extras we will need, meaning the extra foods that we sometimes typically buy that we eat automatically with our mind off, eating unconsciously. So this is about conscious living. It's about being mindful. It is about tuning in with our bodies and knowing that we can take our health back, we can take our food back, and we don't have to rely on broken systems because the systems are becoming very broken and they will shatter eventually. But we will need to know how to rebuild in a better way. And I feel that just even from us knowing how to do that for ourselves and how to better our health with the proper choices and the proper education of how to grow our own food and how to support healthy living will be the foundation for our future. And as I mentioned, when you learn to grow your own food, you save on bills, you definitely take your food back, your health back, and you eat straight from source. So you gain the most energy and the most sustenance and nutrients from growing your own food regardless. So there are many, many solutions. There are many ways around this. As I mentioned, even if you have your own condo, you're in the middle of the city and you don't even have access to a farmer's market or to a farmer, that is okay. There are always solutions. You can grow your own produce. There are many videos, amazing videos out there that teach us how to grow our own produce in our home, on the deck, or even in a condo. So like I said, there are a lot of solutions. And even if you are shopping at a big box supermarket, just be very mindful about what food you're eating and where it's coming from. Try to eat organic as much as possible. I know sometimes it's not exactly organic, but it'll be better than the other alternative. Avoid canned foods as much as possible. Avoid foods with sugars, additives, any kind of additives whatsoever. Try to avoid it as much as possible. Sugars, try to avoid that as much as possible, and eat as clean as possible. Even I would say if you tend to sneak in a few things, or if you are used to eating certain snacks and foods that have additives and have preservatives and have flavors, try to go a month without eating it. Now, it might be difficult because, as I mentioned, we are very habitual. It takes a while, especially food is very difficult to change. Our diets are very difficult to change. Give yourself a month, challenge yourself, push yourself, experiment a little bit. How does it feel to eat something different for a month? Eat clean. Now, the first few weeks may be very difficult. It is hard, like I said, to change our habits. So give yourself some time and see how the body reacts. Within 3 weeks, you'll probably notice yourself feeling clearer. You might feel yourself feeling lighter. You might have more energy, more focus, more mental clarity. Definitely will improve. So listen to your body always. Know what your body is trying to tell you, and be very aware of what you're fueling yourself with. And know that you can take your health back. You can take your food back and own what you eat, own what you put in your body, rather than relying on these broken systems. All right, so I hope this video offered you some guidance when you needed it the most, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Take care.